Hello, this is the RPG Pundit, the final boss in Internet Shitlords. And today I was really not expecting to be doing this. I just did a 3.5 hour live stream last night, which you can catch now on replay. It's not monetized or anything because it was a little bit politically spicy, where I debated a progressive leftist about the content of the now infamous Zach Smith hagiography. So check it out if you're interested in that. But the fact is, today, in spite of me being tired, in spite of it being unbelievably hot here right now, it's like 35 degrees Celsius, which is I think like 208 Fahrenheit or something around there. I'm melting. In spite of all that, I have to do a video because there's some news that I saw that has come out that is a very big deal. And mainly, I mean, I could have waited. And yes, I mean, if I wait, I'm other people are going to get more other. There are going to be more people who will have already done a video scoop about this. But mainly, the reason why I can't wait is because it gives me yet another chance to say I told you so to people. Yeah. So I had been predicting for some time now that Wizards of the Coast is going to try to switch completely off the pen and the paper books, the Dead Tree books, and move everything into the virtual tabletop. And that this is also a convenient aspect of being able to get rid of some of the really useless people inside Wizards. And now all has come to pass, basically. Like, it has been revealed as of yesterday, and I saw it first at Tenkar's Tavern. You got to give it to Tenkar. I mean, he's boring as hell to listen to, but he does tend to get a lot of scoops. I think he's got a really good whisper network, maybe even better than mine. But anyways, the scoop is that it turns out that Wizards of the Coast very quietly, very secretly had made a point of removing all the people in WotC who would be able to follow through on the work of publishing the books, right? Publishing the D&D books in dead paper format for bookstores or for Amazon or whatever, right? So it's a big deal, right? They did it very secretly, I think, because they were afraid of backlash, but also because they're basically also firing now, I'm guessing, the vast majority of these diversity hires that they've had to make the last several books, right? All these books that have failed, basically. These people are probably on contract payment, right? So the only thing they'll have to do now is just basically not hire them again, right? But if they just not hired them in a normal circumstance, they might have been able to raise a fuss saying, oh, they didn't hire me because, I'm a black disabled trans person, and, they'll be able to claim discrimination in some way. And same thing if they just said, well, we're firing you guys and replacing you with ours. But this is actually a golden opportunity because what they're doing is changing format. So, how can you blame them for wanting to change format, especially since book sales have been seriously declining? Now, of course, they've been declining because of the horrible, horrible people who write them, people who have almost no skill and talent, who have no experience writing about D&D, vegan cookbook writers and feminist bloggers who don't belong writing for the hobby. They're not capable of it. They're not talented at it. They don't actually like D&D, and they're basically grifters, right? So those people are all going to be gone too, but I think it's that they're going to be gone basically just by inertia, right? Because as I said, they're probably being contracted on a per book basis, which is not unusual, I was contracted on that basis as a paid consultant for 5th edition, right? So they're probably contracted, and now they're just not going to be contracted again, right? It's like back in 2015 when the woke mob called for Wizards to fire me, right? And like by the time that was when the Player's Handbook came out, 5th edition Player's Handbook, and my name was in the credits. What they didn't understand is I was already not working for Wizards, not because they fired me, but because it was a contract to do that book, right? Anyway, they have the part that is actually the core of the news is that in December, probably at the same time they did all the other cuts, they let go of all the people who are actually in charge of book publishing for Wizards of the Coast, for D&D, right? So that means that essentially they're giving up on books. And you may remember, I did a video about this a while back, right? I think it was back in, October, November, that D&D had cut ties, or rather Wizards had cut ties with Penguin, the publisher that was in charge of their book distribution to bookstores. And there were a bunch of people who say, oh, no, but it's okay because they've got all these other ones. This doesn't mean that they're not going to do books anymore. I'm like, dude, Penguin is one of the biggest things around, right? And if they stop that, it's like saying, well, you know what? We're going to let go of our contract with DHL, right? Or with FedEx, because we've got this guy here, Larry, he's got a motorcycle, and that's all we're going to use now, right? Like, it's not the same thing. All the other supposed replacements for Penguin were much too small to make up for the absence of Penguin, right? And that was one of the things that, having had experience with publishing, that was one of the things that immediately impressed upon me. Oh, they are winding down the book trade, right? And I had expected that what would happen is that starting in this year, basically, the 3 main D&D books, those are going to come out. And I guess that those are going to still, I don't even know if they're going to come out in bookstores. At this point, with this news, it's entirely possible that you'll still be able to get them in book format, I'm guessing, like in a print-on-demand type format or something like that. But it might be that you have to buy them right from D&D Beyond or something like that. So or it may be, like some kind of Amazon thing, like maybe on Amazon, because Amazon basically does have a print-on-demand system. Maybe they'll do it that way. Or maybe they will do one special print run, because I don't think necessarily, this doesn't mean that there will never, ever be another D&D book published by Wizards. And not even if they don't change this policy, because they still have the mechanics to put together special event books, right? Which are that's what those distributors that they now have are for. Those are their people that, so what you're not going to see anymore is that whatever the latest D&D adventure book is with 26 adventures written by 52 different genders, those books are not going to be going to Barnes & Noble. You're not going to see them on the bookshelves anymore, right? Because that's done. They're not going to be in any mass market area. Right, and they're probably not going to be coming out with those books at all. You also won't find them in your local gaming store. Probably, maybe there will be something that will allow that, but I have my doubts. What you'll probably be able to do, because as far as Wizards is concerned, screw the local gaming store. Right, the local gaming store is now their enemy, actually, because at the local gaming store you have some nerds, usually the ones that can't find anyone willing to let them into their house, right? But some nerds that will get together and play there. And that's not what Wizards wants. Wizards wants those nerds that aren't welcome at anyone else's house, to get online and go on the VTT. That's where they want them. So anything that encourages people, this is very much corporate thinking, right? This is Cynthia Williams, Microsoft thinking right off the bat, right? Anything that encourages people to play D&D outside of the VTT is a problem for them. They don't want that. They want everyone to go to the VTT, okay? Now, which VTT is another question, because they may have also given up, as I pointed out recently, they may have given up on making their own in-house VTT. They've got the Foundry now doing D&D as a virtual tabletop. That might be what it ends up being. And they've just hired some other guys to do this 3D VR virtual tabletop, right? So these are all going to be different options, and maybe their own thing is just going to be a delivery system. You log in there, you pay the account there, and then you get sent. You can go to any of these other VTTs depending on what you want. I don't know. That's pure speculation on my part, but it seems to me that maybe they've decided that the whole make your own VTT in-house thing is just cursed, and they're not going to do it. I can't guarantee that. I'm not as sure of that as I am as I was sure of this, which I was very sure. And now it has come to pass, I'm telling you. So there are going to still be occasional special products, but those special products, even if they may be books, but if they are, they're going to be really beautiful deluxe books. They're going to be collectibles. That's what those products are going to be. They might make anywhere between, 0 and 4 in a year, right? But they're not going to be mass market products. They're going to be special collectible items, box sets with fancy stuff and extra merch, stuff that emphasizes the beauty over any matter of actual playability. It's going to have lots of member berries, right? It's going to have lots of stuff that gets people nostalgic, and things like, I don't know, hex maps, or like coiled binders that are like the old second edition Monstrous Manual, or like little DM screens that have an old fashioned style, or what, any of that sort of stuff, right? Special dice. It'll have all. They're going to be special items that are going to cost over $100 for people to buy who are like the obsessive nerds, because that isn't a book product as far as they're concerned anymore. That's merchandising. All remaining book products probably after the 3 core 1D&D editions books are going to end up being treated as merchandising, which is one of the things that Cynthia Williams said they're still interested in doing. But they're not going to think of them first and foremost as books. Some books might be merch, right? Like, just like some people might have a T-shirt with a beholder on it, or a Tarask plushie. Some people might want a book that is like a Forgotten Realms adventure, or a classic re-edition of some old adventure, or it's some kind of special mega campaign with, I don't know, miniatures or whatever, right? And they're gonna do that, right? Like stuff like this Book of Many Things, which is about the deck and everything. It's gonna come with the deck. It's gonna have all these doodads associated with them, right? And so that is transformed from being books to being merchandise, right? And that they are still going to do some of that. But mainly, they're going completely into the virtual tabletop and to digital book publishing, right? They've in fact, I saw somewhere that they have now called for hiring a new vice president of digital publishing, which I guess, unless they've dropped maybe there was a vice president of books who's now gone, but if not, it'll up the number of WotC executives to 21 or 22. They'll probably all still be white, in spite of Kyle Brinks, who will still be there. But there you are. They're going for digital publishing, but digital publishing does not really mean like the DMs Guild. I don't know if the DMs Guild will still exist. It might, but I mean, you'd think that would also kind of be counterproductive to the agenda of the VTT, right? Because if people can just get the PDFs and play them in other places, whether virtual or printing out those books online, like if you can go to Kinko's or whatever, you print out your book. That's also contrary to the agenda of VTT Uber Alles, right? So it's hard to say. Maybe the DMs Guild is going away. I don't know. That's speculation. I'm not saying I've got any news about that, but it is a big question, So that's the news. It's very big news as far as I'm concerned, because it confirms, as usual, that I am right. And also it marks the end, basically, of Wizards as a publisher of pen and paper RPGs, So that's a really, really big deal, I think. That's everything I wanted to say for today. Currently smoking Stanwell Pipe of the Year plus Argento Roots. And please subscribe to this channel if you haven't subscribed already. Share this video anywhere you think people will find it interesting or get pissed off at how I was right. And be sure to check out all of my products like Sword and Caravan, World of the Last Sun, Dark Albion. I got all 3 of the big setting books out there today. If you want system neutral settings that you can use in any OSR D&D based game, check out any of these 3. And check out my newest issue of the Pundit Files in the Red Room. It's come out today. At least, I'm going to upload this today for sure. So yes, today, Tuesday, it has come out. And it is the Pundit Files number 5, The City Guide to Baghdad. And it is the city of Baghdad at the same time of the Sword and Caravan setting. It's a complete city guide. You get all the details, the history, the neighborhoods, the places of interest, adventure seeds, and a map, of course. All that's in there, Pundit Files number 5. And you can only get it at the Red Room store. The link to that and all of these other things are in the description below. And as for the Pundit Files, that issue and all the other issues of the Pundit File cost about $3.50. Okay, so once again, currently smoking Stanwell Pipe of the Year plus Argento roots, and see you later, guys.